At least 51 people, including 5 paramedics, have been killed in Israeli strikes across Lebanon, according to the country's health ministry. A report published by the World Health Organization today has found that a higher proportion of health workers and patients have been killed in Lebanon than any other conflict across the world. More than 3,500 people have been killed in Lebanon since October last year. Meanwhile, in northern Israel and the occupied Golan Heights, Hezbollah attacks have killed more than 100 people.
Israel and Hezbollah are trading heavy rocket and missile fire. Israel says hundreds of Hezbollah rockets targeted northern Israel yesterday, causing some injuries there. This morning, the Israeli military launched new air attacks on Lebanon's capital, Beirut.
An exchange of fire that is escalating. This residential building, one of many taken down over the weekend, as Israel launched one of its deadliest strikes on central Beirut, killing more than 80 people, said the Lebanese health ministry. Israel's defense force said it was targeting Hezbollah strongholds embedded in the civilian population.
This Israeli government has killed more children, more journalists, more aid workers, and more medical personnel than any other war in recent memory. In the absence of global accountability, repeated horrors are normalized, threatening to create a future where anything is permitted anywhere in the world. Those who continue to propagate the idea of Jordan as an alternative homeland. So let me be very, very clear. That will never happen. We will never accept the forced displacement of Palestinians, which is a war crime.
Sanction Israel now. Madam President, this is my first speech in this chamber, and I wanted those to be my first words. What is happening in Gaza is nothing short of a total humanitarian catastrophe. 41,000 Palestinians have been killed. Gaza has been reduced to rubble. 2 million Gazans are being left to starve, without electricity, without clean water, without a sewage system, or without even a single fully functional hospital.
The images of people burning alive are possibly the most horrific, stomach-churning, terrifying images of this horrific year of genocide by Israel against the people of Gaza. They have threatened Irish troops. They have attacked UN bases. There's simply no atrocity Israel isn't willing to commit, and we're seeing this in front of our eyes. Why?
Today, the world's top war crimes court issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for what the court called crimes against humanity for intentionally depriving Gazans of food and directing attacks against civilians. Israel today called it an anti-Semitic attack on democracies trying to defend themselves from terrorism. Here's Nick Schifrin with more.
In the moonscape that is now northern Gaza, in the desperation of Gazan civilians, lacking the basic necessities of life, or what the International Criminal Court today called Israeli crimes against humanity for having, quote, intentionally and knowingly deprived the civilian population in Gaza of objects indispensable to their survival, including food, water, and medicine, and, quote, intentionally directing attacks against the civilian population of Gaza, as ICC prosecutor Karim Khan argued on the NewsHour in September.
The world is not in danger because of Russia. The world is not threatened by Russia. The world has no fear of Russia. That's the reality. The propaganda that the West has generated, and particularly the United States, and more specifically, the LGBT left-wing Democrat uniparty Republican epicenter in Washington, D.C., they are inventing this fountain of lies about Russia and spreading that to poison the minds of people in Europe. And I think only Europe is susceptible to it. You don't have anyone in Africa or Asia drinking from that fountain of lies and death.
I'm a student at Martin Luther King High School, and I run on the cross-country team. So I'm constantly affected by these actions that have taken place this season. And I have been around the females and just my team in general who have felt almost silenced to speak out about it because the whole LGBTQ is shoved down our throats, it is put in our face, and we live in a society where it is almost impossible to speak out on it without facing the repercussions of it. And I went myself to have a discussion with the head of the athletic director when nobody really felt comfortable enough to speak out. And I don't think it's fair, knowing Caitlin and knowing Taylor, to see their spots getting taken away, to see all these things being jeopardized for one person. It feels as though that my school and the school district is choosing to support one person instead of the whole team and the whole school as a total. And it is not okay that I have to be in a position where I'm going to practice and having to see a male in booty shorts and having to see that around me. As a 16-year-old girl, I don't find that as a safe environment. I don't at all. And going into locker room and seeing males in there, I don't find that safe. I don't find going to the bathroom safe when there's guys in there. It's not okay. I'm a 16-year-old girl.
So, breaking news, Trump is reportedly planning on an executive order that would lead to the removal of all transgender members of the military. I think some could speculate that it's a mental health issue, while others could say they're not fit for duty because they do not fit any gender category. This would be a step in the right direction for our country, as we're not coddling transgender people anymore. And as the leader of the executive branch, this is under Trump's full authority. I know liberals are absolutely going to lose their shit, but we don't care. This is exactly what we voted in. No nonsense, no bullshit.
We're going to see a crazy surge in prostitution in the next 10 years because we will pick prostitution over a family. I interviewed 1,000 women in a year, and it showed me the dark realities of what is going on during this year. I saw women leave their husbands over no reason. I saw women that had children go out every night of the week. And the most depressing part was how common prostitution has become. We are going to see a crazy surge in prostitution in the next 10 years. I would not be surprised if it gets legalized in all the major cities, because from what I have seen, we will pick prostitution over a family. I'm not saying that's good, but we're seeing a huge surgence of OnlyFans models of women when they're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. Women at that age have the option to get married, and they are choosing prostitution.
Amazon fired all their workers before Christmas.
So, according to LA Magazine, LA failed to spend $513 million of its $1.3 billion budget on the homeless. For $513 million, I shouldn't even see a fucking toothpick on the ground, let alone the homeless encampments that are still everywhere. Somebody need to go to jail.
The reason why they want to get rid of the work from home positions and make everyone go back into the office is because you're not screwing each other anymore. You must understand that marriage is a business, and so is divorce. If they're not going to work and cheating on their husbands and their wives, they can't get divorced. If you're not going to work and meeting people, you're not getting married and having babies, which is a business. Birth rates are substantially dropping in the U.S. Marriage rates are substantially dropping in the U.S. From it being unaffordable to men being trash to kids being unaffordable to have. And then you're not in the office anymore working and mingling and creating these narratives, these divorces and these marriages from these work relationships. That's why they need to eliminate working from home. You need to get your ass back in the office, meet and mingle, screw each other, get divorced or get married, have some kids, generate some dollars, make some new slaves. That's it. That's all.
King Solomon, renowned for his wisdom, reigned over Israel and amassed great wealth and power. However, he had many foreign wives and concubines who led him astray from worshipping the God of Israel, turning his heart towards other deities. This disobedience angered God, who promised to tear the kingdom from Solomon's rule. Yet, Out of respect for Solomon's father David, God vowed not to implement this division during Solomon's reign. Instead, the kingdom would be split after Solomon's death, under his son's rule.